Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we are going to go over what the best buddies are for PvP. This is for level 51, the new release. I know it's going to take a while for some people to get to it, but some planning ahead. I love these new legend rank badges. Hopefully I can get the one for this season. Hopefully you can too, but hopefully this video will be helpful. So I love a couple things in terms of methodology. I compared the level 50 version of it to the level 51. So the 100% maxed out level 50 to the 100% maxed out but best buddied. The Pokemon were evaluated in the 0, 1, and 2 even shields, and were based off of PvPoke's custom meta list at rank 50 or rank 1. So like when I look at Ultra League, they're ranked 1, and sim details will be provided at the end where I'll go over the ones that where I did see differences. Again, best buddy can be important, but again, there are several things that are more important than best buddy, like obviously using the right team, using the team effectively, etc., etc. But these are just small considerations that you want to take advantage to try to get an edge versus your opponent, and understanding where it comes into play is important as well as you decide, because you can only equip one best buddy. So the first one, Master League's favorite Pokemon, Master League's mascot, Dialga. It's better against in the mirror, so that's why I have the mirror there. It actually has a defense bulk point. You need like 14 defense. I'll go over those details at the end, because I just want to provide the high level list so that people can take away it. And you want to take a look at the details, stick around till after I go over this list. Against Zekrom, it also has a defense breakpoint. The defense breakpoint is so good that Dialga actually beats Zekrom down 2 shields, as long as Zekrom doesn't have Outrage. If it has Outrage, obviously it's a little bit different. If it has Crunch and Wild Charge, it's an extremely favorable matchup for Dialga. So you actually don't need to shield. The level 50 version versus the level 50 Zekrom actually has to shield. No, can't be down a shield. While the level 51 version can, because of that defense bulk point, where Dragon Breath I think goes from like 5 to 4 damage. Then there's also a defense bulk point against Machamp, which you win the 2 shield against the level 50 Machamp with the level 50 Dialga, but the level 51 Dialga will come out with like 18 HP as opposed to like 6, and then as well more likely to get to the Iron Head or potentially Draco Meteor, depends on what comes in. And then against poor Garchomp, Garchomp just absolutely gets destroyed by Dialga now with a Dragon Breath breakpoint. So Dragon Breath does 1 additional damage versus a level 50 Garchomp at level 51. So poor Garchomp, but Dialga, definitely one that you might already have. The HP doesn't seem to be like that big a deal for the mirror match. It might be some consideration for some other matchups, and as well, you want as close to 100% as possible, but at least 14 defense, and then in my opinion you need 15 attack for the mirror match, because it looks like more consistently you can get to the second Iron Head, especially if you're trying to Dragon Breath down. So something to take into consideration. The next one is Dragonite. Dragonite is what I recommend that you equipped as best buddy for well, it depends, right? But for at least there's more consideration than just the mirror. For Masters Premier, well, actually I guess there's like a Masters Classic. Anyways, yeah, Masters Premier, whenever that will come out this season, at level 51, you pick up the mirror match. You just basically win CMP. That's like really the only consideration. In the 0 shield, you still Dragon Breath each other down, but in the 1 and 2 shield, you actually CMP is going to be important. And then against Machamp, you actually have a Dragon Breath breakpoint, which allows you to win the 2 shield even if they double bait with Machamp, because that additional Dragon Breath damage allows you to KO the Machamp quicker. So I think that's good enough reason. There's not too many other matchups in the Masters Premier that get impacted by the best buddy. Obviously, Metagross CMP is very important because you want to be able to land the Earthquake. But I think Dragonite is definitely a very strong contender and something to take a look at. The next one is going to be the master of the Ultra League and Ultra League Premier, and this is Galarian Stunfisk. So obviously in the mirror match, you want to land the Earthquake. Obviously there's a lot of baiting, so like maybe CMP is not so important. But if you both bait each other, then being able to land that last Earthquake is going to allow you to win the switch advantage, which is really important. Against Togekiss, obviously it's a positive matchup against Togekiss, but the good thing about against Togekiss is at level 51, the rock slides do enough to allow you to KO the Togekiss before it can get to the flamethrower in the zero shield. So that means like you're not taking super effective damage from a base 90 move from a relatively attack weighted Pokemon in the Ultra League, allow you to come out with even more health on Stunfish, which I think is amazing. Against Machamp, you still lose against Machamp. Obviously, you're Steel type, and Machamp is a fighting type. But in the one shield, in all shields, you get the counter breakpoint, and that actually allows you to be able to land the Earthquake if you bait with the Rock Slide. Machamp still survives, but is at much lower health than it would be otherwise. But this only applies to really high-ranked Machamps, because obviously higher-ranked Machamps have lower attack. If you're looking at if within your micro meta or your sub meta, people are generally having more attack weighted Machamps, or not like top 50 ranked Machamps, then obviously this doesn't matter at all. And then against Articuno is generally a favorable matchup, but Articuno can actually win the 2 shield by straight icy winning, and by having a level 51, it's very similar to Togekiss. It's where the Rock Slide just does enough to allow you to KO the Articuno before it's able to get to that last icy win. If they have like a very attack weighted Articuno, then the icy winds will do enough damage to take out the Stunfisk before it's able to get to the Rock Slide. But that's still a great matchup. This would be even worth it just for the mirror match, because Galarian Stunfisk, once everyone has access to level 50 and level 51 Galarian Stunfisk, it's going to be all over Ultra League. So I think it's going to be a super strong Pokemon. So something to take into consideration. The next one is also a pretty rare Pokemon that I don't expect to see in the Ultra League too soon. But once people are able to get level 50 and level 51 Mandibuzzes, it's going to allow you to win the mirror match. It's also allow you to win the 2 shield against Stunfisk. It's actually pretty interesting, the next 3 matchups. So all 3, Stunfisk, Dragonite, Shadow Dragonite, and Alolan Muck, are all for the exact same reason. The 2 shield matchup, you survive because of the additional HP you get, and then as well the additional bulk point that you get from taking less damage on Rock Slide, Dragon Claw, and then the Sludge Wave, Dark Pulse situations. So those are all the reasons. And plus Mandibuzz is super strong, and it's going to be pretty common once people are able to get access to it, if they ever get access to it. But I think these are pretty strong reasons. The fact that you're able to beat Stunfisk. This is the Muck is based off of like a high rank Muck. So if they have a more attack weighted one, then you'll see that HP plus like bulk point versus Sludge Wave is not going to be as consistent. But I think these are pretty strong considerations. So that is the list of them. These are the 4 best buddies I recommend that you work on, that you can utilize in the Ultra League, Ultra Premier, Master League, and Masters Premier. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the sims. These are some of the nitty-gritty details. So this is a level 51 Dialga versus a level 50 Dialga, and you can see the level 51 absolutely destroys, and you can see in the matrix it performs extremely well. And you will see here it actually has the defensive bulk point here at 190.08, and you'll see here at level 51 it has 191, and then at level 50 it has 189.9. So it's actually going to just fall short. And if you go to 14 defense, it just barely makes it. Like it's like 0.02 over, which allows them to actually reach that point. So you can see here it still allows it to win that matchup, which I think is fantastic. So that is really great. If we go to the Zekrom matchup, you'll see here the same thing. we have another defensive bulk point, which is actually at the exact same number. And that might not be actually a coincidence. That's because of the... Oh, actually, no, they should be one... Oh, yeah, because they're both neutral. Yeah, they have, it's for the exact same reason. So again, you need 14 defense because Zekrom and Dialga have the exact same stats, and Dragon Breath is obviously the same move. So it's for the exact same reason. As you can see here, you can go down 2 shields and still just straight up annihilate Zekrom. So it's actually pretty amazing. Versus the level 50 version, you cannot do that. As you can see, it actually loses down a shield because of that additional Dragon Breath damage. So I think that's pretty cool. A great reason. Dialga is obviously super powerful in the Master League, and at level 50 it's going to be no different. And you can see against Machamp, you'll see that there's a counter breakpoint at 189.91, and if we go to level 50, you can see it's going to be 189.9, so it's going to fall just short of that breakpoint. So you can see here, it actually that's so brutal. Obviously, this is level 50 Machamp with 15 attack. So obviously, if it has less than that, then it's going to be a little bit different. And then the defense that you probably need is probably a little bit lower. You probably can get away with like 13. Yeah, you can probably get away with 13 defense. Yeah, no, actually you can't because you need 190. So you do need 14 regardless here at level 51. So 14 defense makes sense for the Zekrom and Dialga matchup. So definitely a strong consideration there. And if we take a look at the Garchomp matchup, poor Garchomp. Just absolutely poor Garchomp. You hit a breakpoint at 245.09. And you can see here, it's just barely passes that mark at level 59, level 51. So you actually need 15 attack for the Garchomp matchup. And it just straight up annihilates Garchomp. It doesn't really have too much of a chance. Maybe if we throw Sand Tomb, the matchup will be a little bit closer. It actually ends up winning the one shield, which is, better for it. But the Dragon Breath damage is pretty nice. So something to take consideration there. If we go to the Dragonite mirror, as you can see, you just Dragon Breath each other down in the zero shield. There's not really... Actually, in reality, one of the Dragonites would KO and the other one wouldn't, because you can't have a simultaneous KO with Dragon Breath. So I'm sure someone in the comment section already pointed that out, but I'm just putting that in consideration. And then actually in the one shield is where you'll see the difference. Whether you'll be able to win CMP and win that matchup. And actually in the 2 shield, you just straight up Dragon Breath each other down as well, because you're not able to get to that third Dragon Claw, which makes sense. And if we go to the Machamp matchup, we hit a breakpoint at 234.31. And you can see here, we just barely make it at level 50, at level 51. At level 50, we're not able to make it. And you probably need 234. Yeah, you definitely need 15 attack. Level 51 to be able to achieve that breakpoint, which is going to be pretty nice. As you can see, it's a 706 in the 2 shield. If we go to level 50, you'll see it's a pretty difficult matchup for Machamp, but you can see here that because it can double bait and then able to get to the Rock Slide, because the Dragon Breath damage is not mostly because it actually doesn't end up surviving the Rock Slide plus the counter afterwards, versus otherwise it would, and come out with like a lot more health. So you go from a losing matchup to a pretty dominating matchup. As you can see, all these counters that are going through. So, sorry, that's actually a Dragon Breath breakpoint. Yeah, sorry, I'm mixing up with the Dialga one. It's actually a Dragon Breath breakpoint. It actually prevents the Rock Slide from going through. Yeah, sorry, I'm mixing up. Going back and forth and looking at the sims and looking at my notes. As you can see here, just straight up Dragon Breath it down, and they would actually miss the Rock Slide. Obviously, they can try to sneak in a fast move, that kind of consideration, but for the most part, that extra Dragon Breath damage is really nice for it. And if we go to the Stunfisk mirror, as you can see here, it's just really about winning CMP. In the 2 shield, it doesn't really matter too much, because one Earthquake doesn't KO, and then you basically survive because of an HP bulk point. And if we go to the next matchup, Togekiss, this is the one I was talking about. The rock slides, so the mud shots still do 1 damage. The rock slides do 69 damage. Nice. Versus if at level 50, we'll see that they only do 68 damage. Not nice. And that allows them to get to the flamethrower. So you're looking at 588 in the zero shield, or I think it's like a 900 or something like 832. That's like dramatic difference. That's like the difference between getting farmed down versus being able to get off an earthquake on a Machamp, for example. So I think that's a pretty strong reason. And then here, Stunfisk actually gets a counter break point, bulk point I should say, 156.69 defense, and you can see here it just barely crosses that mark, and you can see here otherwise, so it's 432, so allows it to in the one shield allows it to, well, in this case it's not showing it because obviously I changed it, so you can see here it's not able to get to the earthquake, it just falls just short of it. But at level 51 you can bait and get off the earthquake, and then the Machamp is at 22 HP as opposed to in the one shield it's left with 92 HP. So basically you're left with like a full health Pokemon, which is actually pretty bad for you to deal with, and which make it pretty challenging. So I think that's something to take into consideration. Obviously this is with the rank 1. If you change it to default, Machamp still dominates, right? Because now no longer that counter breakpoint is relevant, because now you need a much higher defense, and obviously Stunfisk is already at 100%. Actually, let's go to level 51 here just to demonstrate this. Makes no difference. So if you're in a meta where they're, have top 50 Machamps always, then that bulk point is going to be really important. If you're not, where they typically use like more ones with like default 5, 12, 14, it's not terrible, probably top 500. Then obviously it's a little bit different there. If we go to this, what do I have the Machamp twice? Okay, all right. We don't need that one. And then Articuno, also another really interesting one here. You can see in the 2 shield, the rock slides, mostly like these rock slides here that don't get shielded, 65, 55, and 49. And you can see it's able to just barely survive, mostly because of the HP bulk point. Actually, it's mostly the HP bulk point that allows it to survive. So if we go to level 50, you can see the HP goes down by 1, and it's actually not able to survive there. Oh, so it's actually a bulk HP bulk point. I might have said that wrong in my video. I actually definitely said it wrong in my video at the beginning part of the video, but it's really the HP bulk point allows to survive it. Obviously, if they have a higher attack one, so like if they go default, then and we go to level 51 on the Stunfisk, you'll see here it's not able to survive because obviously it just does more damage. But if they have like a decent Articuno, then it's going to be able to survive. Generally favorable matchup, but one of those things where Articuno can just keep icing winding and eventually turn the tides of the match. So if it's really important to win switch advantage, then Articuno can. But the situation of that one is it's probably more like this, where you don't shield at all on the Stunfisk, or maybe you shield once. This sim's kind of weird though, because it does throw a hurricane here. The sim is probably more like this, where they'll shield twice, and then you'll shield once, and you'll end up losing switch, but then they'll be left with like 11 HP but 45, because you're not able to win the 2 shield. It's kind of like the Dragonite versus Metagross in Masters Premier when it was like level 40, where like without Best Buddy, then Dragonite does win the 2 shield, but you really want to shield the Dragon Claw. It kind of feels bad too, but so it's kind of very similar to that situation. And then the Mandibuzz mirror, it's really just about CMP, nothing too crazy there. If we go to the Mandibuzz versus Stunfisk again, this is an example of like the additional HP plus the rock slide damage does 60 damage at level 51, and then does 61 damage. So it does 1 less damage. So it's actually able to KO before they can get off the foul play. And this is a very predictable matchup. Besides like the fast moves sticking in, because like they're both 100%, they're both maxed out. So like this matchup should be very consistent. So Mandibuzz can actually take this matchup if it's at level 51, and the stunfisk is actually not at 51. Because obviously once it's at 51, like if they're both at 51, then actually Mandibuzz actually still wins because of the additional HP. Yeah. It's actually able to still win because of additional HP, and actually able to get off the snarls and foul plays that it needs to KO the stunfisk, which is pretty nice. Again, not expected that a flyer can able to beat a steel type, but this is one example. And Mandibuzz super strong, gonna be super fantastic to utilize. And then the Dragonite one, again, pretty similar. Like the Dragon Claw does less damage, it's able to survive because of additional HP, and able to get the last foul play off. And the same thing against a Alolan Muck. But it's at 1 HP, so this is at rank 1. So obviously if they have the default 1 version, for example, then the Alolan Muck is able to win. There is like some like double baiting with Dark Pulse and all that stuff, which is going to flip and change around the matchup. But those are the details. Those are the breakdowns of the 4 Pokemon that I think you should best buddy for season 6 and beyond, until we take a look at how the meta is going to change. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you like this video, click like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.